guys, it's Lisa here. I hope you're all doing really well. And once again, I'm so sorry I've been gone for a little while and I never got round to doing my stitch with me. Things have just been unbelievably busy. So what I'm going to do, I wasn't even intending to upload today because I'm not even really dressed for it. I've been on my bike this morning, obviously training for the ride that we're hopefully doing, and I've cut the lawn, so I was going to sit down this afternoon to stitch, and then I thought, do you know what, I might as well take this point and do an upload and show you my stitchy progress for the last, how many weeks will it be? Maybe 2 months, 6 weeks? I can't remember when I last uploaded, to be honest. So I've got my little Daisy next to me. So Daisy was spayed yesterday, so she's actually doing really, really well considering. So I'm ever so proud of her. She's such a good girl. But yeah, I thought, well, I'll come on. What I'll do is do a touch point, and then in the next couple of weeks or so, I will upload a stitch with me, because there is so much I need to tell you, to explain kind of why I've been more absent than usual. There's an awful lot going on at the minute, and it's just trying to fit stitching into everything that I've got going on. So it's not that I'm not stitching. I mean, there's a reasonable amount of progress that I've got here. Well, it's not a lot, but it's reasonable. But there's just so much going on that I don't always have the time to really sit and do this. So I'm waffling. So I'm going to show you the progress and let you know what I've been up to. So first up, I do have like a little mini finish, and I've not had a finish in a long time, so this is it's quite an achievement. So you know, I've been working on the Santoro Gorgeous Girl Hush Little Bunny, and I've actually, I say finished her, pretty much finished her. And then I've just realised, as I've looked at the picture as I was bringing it downstairs, that there is an element that I could go back and do if I wanted to. So this is her. She's just off the hoop. So she does want an iron, as do all of my pieces. So this is on, what is it? Is it 18 count Ada? Let's have a look. I shall tell you. Counted cross stitch. 16 count. So 16 count Ada, and this was already pre-dyed by Bothy Threads, because this is a Santoro Bothy thread kit. And these kits are really, really lovely. They come with all of the thread. It's Madeira thread that these guys use, all pre-sorted, beautiful kits. And then they've started to, it's not hand-dyed, but sort of print the background onto the Ada already for us, so that is super nice. So it really does stand out. Now I have omitted, there's like a little border that runs around the edge of these swirly bits, and it's quite a pretty border, but I thought the way it is enough. And then a lot of it, like the extra border, is like a straight line, and trying to get those like backstitch running stitches to look neat, I never managed to do it for whatever reason, so I've decided not to bother with that. But I think it looks nice the way it is. And then I've realised, and I should have known, that there are little beads, little red beads, and they are dotted about a dress. So I might go on and just add the little beads in later, maybe at some point, because you know what I'm like for not framing stuff. So this will probably just go in my drawer of embarrassment and drawer of shame with all of my pieces that I've finished and never actually got round to actually doing anything with. So it will probably end up there, but you know, it's a finish, it's a little finish nonetheless. So I am quite pleased with the progress that I've made on that. Right, we'll move on to the mirrors now, and there's not a lot of progress on my mirabilia, so you'll know I'm working on Royal Games 1. So you've got, what is it, the Queen of Hearts and the Queen of Spades? Yes, Spades on here. And the last time you saw this, I'll put in a picture of where it was before. We had got to the point where I put the head on the Queen of Hearts, but the Queen of Spades remained headless. Now I have managed to stick a head on her, as you can see. So this is it as it stands now. My head's not quite finished. So really, I'm not a million miles away from another finish here. I'm stitching this on, oh gosh, what is this? It will be 16 count, so it's 32 count, opalescent oatmeal fabric. This is Murano, and it was hand dyed by Kate at Sparkles. Gosh, I think my face looks really red. I'm not sure if it's just the light. I'm not actually that red. I hope I'm not that red on the camera. But anyway, so that's what I'm working on. So DMC thread stitched 2/2 in this instance. So looking good. And I did the skin. I've just kind of stitched it cross stitch style. I didn't do petite point on this, to be honest. I couldn't really be bothered to do it, and as I said, just got her head to finish, and then I'm into the beading really. So in essence, not far off a finish here, but you know me, these pieces will probably linger around for years like some of them are. I was looking at, I've got an app, what is it called? Do you know what, I've got memory like a sieve today. This is because I'm not organised and I wasn't planning to do this. So I've got a app on my iPad, which is where you keep all your inventory and bits and bobs. Do you know what, I'm going to have to go and have a look because it's going to drive me nuts if I don't go and have a look. Yeah, it's just called the Cross Stitch or X Stitch app, that's all. You can download it. I'm pretty much sure it was a free app on the App Store. I'm not sure whether it's available on Android. I don't have Android, but I was looking at some of the dates for these pieces, and there's so much that dates back to 2017. It's horrific. So some of these pieces I've had on the go for 4 years, and I'm so sorry. It's embarrassing. You must get sick to death of seeing them. But you know, I don't know, because really there's absolutely no need for some of them to have malingered as long as I have, particularly my Persephone, which I'll show you now. So Persephone is one of the big Mirabilias, and I'll show you a picture of where she was before. I mean, to be honest, there's so little progress with her. I'm almost embarrassed to show you, but I'm going to, because I have worked on her. I did one night a tiny bit of beading, and you won't even be able to see because you can never see on the camera anyway, it's rubbish. But I put these, it's kind of the edge of her dress. I'm not sure if it's a necklace, it could be a necklace, but I put those beads on her. Whoop-de-doo. I was just sat one night and I just thought, oh, well, let's do a bit on Persephone. So I did a tiny little bit on her. Like I said, it is a bit, but hey, you know, stitches and beads are progress. But she has malingered since about March 2017, and there's absolutely no reason why they should have taken so long. I mean, yes, they're big, and yes, there's quite a lot of detail in them, and they always take longer than you think, don't they? But in the grand scheme of things, mirrors are quite blocky. They're not like Heaven and Earth designs, and I've said this before, where you know, counting loads and loads of stitches and you're moving around, and you know, you've got confetti stitching and things like that. They're not like that. They're quite blocky. But even so, I just don't feel as though I've had a decent run at her, and I will this next month, because I do want to get to a point where I can get her through and off, and I'd like to get that one framed, to be honest. I've no idea where I'll put it when I do, but it would be good to get her framed and away, really. I'm feeling that way with, not with all of the pieces, but that. And then another one that I haven't worked on, my Steam Heart by Chris Ortega, that one, Heaven and Earth design. I'll put a picture in of her, but I've not done anything with it. That's if I remember to put a picture in. But I've not done anything with her for the last few months, really. I think was she my update last time? She might have been. Can't remember. She was. But I've not worked on her this time round, so sadly she's not making an appearance, which will be the first time again in about, what, 3.5 years since I've sort of pulled her out of the bag. Next up, let's do kind of my like itty bitty stitching, as I call it. So first up we have Home of a Needleworker 2. This is stitched with, what are they, classic Colourworks threads. They're nice. I do have a feeling that I'm going to run out of a couple of colours. I might have to buy some more of the brown, I think. I'm not sure which one it is. I think it's Candied Pears or Spiced Pear. That's the one. But last time you saw this, there was a house and a bit of greenery, but since then I've put a roof on, a door, and I've started some of the writing. So we've got the worker of needleworker. So it's coming along, and so this is the kind of bottom border edge. So it'll come across here a little bit more, and there is a bit more detail above. But you know, I've got the house done, so I've got the bulk of it. It's not the bulk, but you know, the big part, and the letters stitch up really quickly. I managed to stitch most of those letters and the border, you know, in the space of maybe 3 or 4 hours. It really wasn't a massive effort, and again, this stitches up really quickly, which is nice. But that's coming on, and it's one of those. It's a bit like my Autumn at Hawker and Hollow that I've got here, where it's quite blocky, and you can sort of just, you know, go backwards and forwards in lines, you know, particularly on things like the roof and the house itself, and a lot of the letters as you're working them are quite, you know the sort of pattern of what's going to create a letter. So it's quite zen. I like these for that reason. They're not the sort of thing that's overly complicated, or you're having to overthink things, which I do actually like from time to time. It makes a change from the Heaven and Earth, and you know how much I enjoy stitching those, so it does make quite a nice break. Anyway, next we have Autumn at Hawker and Hollow. So I'll put in a picture of what it'll look like when it's finished. But I am on block 7, so I'm over halfway through with this. It is still on the frame. To be honest, I almost forgot to bring it down when I was coming with the pieces, but I'm on that block 7 down at the bottom, so I'm about just less than halfway through completing that one. So this is stitched on, it's Vintage Country Mocha. I got this at so-and-so when so-and-so existed, and it's kind of, I'm not sure how I would refer it. It's like a linen, and it's not hand dyed, but there's like a rusticy print on it, and as I said, it's Vintage Country Mocha. You could probably still get it from somewhere else, and I believe this was, what count is this? This is 40 count, I'm pretty sure it's 40 count, and I'm stitching in the Call for MPI silk on this, and I'm stitching this 1/2, so it's like a 20 count, if that makes sense. And I'm finding that that's giving enough coverage, but because you're only using one strand of thread, it's very sparing of the thread, because you know, if any of you have worked with MPI silks, how ridiculously expensive they are. So I'm just going to get it all in. So that obviously the topper I did, it feels like forever ago, and then obviously the 6 blocks, and then we're on to 7. So this is it's going to be super long, and there's still more scrolled up in the bottom there. So it's a long skinny piece. I think it's about 4 foot when it's finished, or something like that. So yeah, I'm pleased with how that's coming along. Slow, but you know, there's no rush for this, because it's not anything that I've got an overly massive burning desire to get on the wall, because we probably never will. But I'm just enjoying the process of stitching it. It's something a little bit different. So I'll now show you my 2 Heaven and Earths. One of them I've worked probably a lot more on the other, really, and as I've already said, my Steam Heart's not here. So the first thing I've worked on is my Lisa Parker, and this is Witches, or The Rise of the Witches, I think it is. I'll put in a picture of what it'll look like when it's done and where I was last time with it. And here we are. So you can see where the little kitty ears are going to be, and I'm pretty sure from memory, because I haven't checked, that this section wasn't quite in, so this is kind of where I've been splodging around, and I was going to do a stitch with me with this, and I will do the stitch with me on this because this is quite a nice one to probably do a stitch with me with, because the colours are pretty, and because this is a Story Keep version, it's like the full size version, so it's relatively not blocky, but it's not very confetti heavy. And I'm stitching this on 18 count Aida in just 2/1 in just standard DMC. It's just white Aida. I'm sure I got this from Hobbycraft actually. You can buy the big great big chunks of Aida from Hobbycraft. That's pretty much all they do. That's of much use. Our Hobbycraft's awful for cross stitch supplies, and I know I've been on this rant before about these big craft shops that put small independents out of business, and I don't know about anybody else's Hobbycraft, and I'm not going to get on this negative train, I'm not doing it, who, yeah, they sell like little bits, but it's never something you could create a whole thing with. So they do the DMC threads. Not all the colours all the time, it depends. I do run out a lot in mine, and you really have to kind of muddle through just to make sure they haven't been mixed up, because I swear to God the kids go around and mix them. But yeah, so I can get some DMC threads there usually, and this Aida, but other than that, you'd be overreaching. And then I'm ordering online because there's no well, there is a needle shop actually near where my mum lives. My mum and dad live. I'm telling a lie, but that's incredibly expensive. I mean, I'll go there at a push when I have to, but they are super expensive. So it tends to be online. But anyway, I was saying you can buy these like massive great chunks of Aida for about 10, maybe £15, which I tend to have a few on tap, and I do a lot of these. I've done Story Keeps and other kind of smaller Heaven and Earths on them, because it's sometimes nice to stitch on 18 count Aida. It's good to give your eyes a bit of a rest, and for any of you guys who have been working from home and doing a lot of laptop related work, I know I'm feeling it from the point of view of eye strain. So just to be able to not be staring at one of the pieces I'm working on is super nice for a change. And then finally I have my final Heaven and Earth design, and it's mini A Winter Kiss, and I can't remember for the life of me who the artist is for this. I will put her name below. It's completely gone out of my head, and I'll show you what it'll look like when it's finished. I love this, and where I was before, and this is where I have got to. So you can see pretty much, I think previously I'd done here, and I've worked my way across to, it's not the edge, but and it's essentially the top of his head. So you can see where her head is coming in here, and then obviously this is the top of his head. So I do have a lot of like detail to go and fill in. As you can see, this section here was not far off being fully complete, but you can see there's a lot of kind of not finishing, but going back and filling in the detail that I need to do. And yeah, this has been sort of sitting on the frame for a while, just in the front room, and periodically I've just sort of jumped on and maybe done an hour here and there on an evening when I've had a bit of time, and that sort of time adds up, doesn't it, really? But I'm sort of debating what I'm going to do and work on. I think I might get my my whatchamacallit, the Story Keep, the Rise of the Witches, out this afternoon, this evening, and work on that over the weekend, possibly. I'm not going to get an awful lot done tomorrow because it's the 19th today, I think, and it's Father's Day here in the UK tomorrow, so my parents are coming over, because normally I'd go there, but with Daisy being spayed, I'm not going to sort of chew her about too much. So they're going to come across here and probably spend a bit of time, and I've got a 2.5-hour bike ride to fit in the morning, which I think the weather's a bit rubbish, so I don't think I'll be getting out on the bike, so I think I might have to do that on the turbo. So tomorrow's probably, to be fair, quite written off in terms of stitching, and then yeah, it's work on Monday. I have actually had this last week off, which has been lovely, so I got myself across to for those of you who followed me for quite a while, I've got a static caravan over on the east coast, just kind of south of Bridlington. The weather was lovely. Didn't get an awful lot of stitching done, but I did get some. It was just nice just to relax, chill out, get away from my laptop a bit and other stresses, you know, just life in general. It's just sometimes good to get away. So I'm going to look at my diary on Monday when I go back to work and see when I can get my next week off in. I'm thinking probably in the next 4 weeks I'll take another week off, try and exploit some of the good weather that we've had in the UK. We had an awful May. It was just so wet, and then June has been just so much better, really. Just so much better, and last week, well, this last week just gone, I did get some really nice days, so managed to get Daisy out a little bit. She doesn't like to walk too much. She won't go on the beach. She hates the beach. I don't think she likes the feel of the sand on her paws. So I went without her and walked quite a few miles on the beach most days, had a bit of a paddle. It was nice. Yeah, that is probably going to be it for now. In terms of plans, it's just going to be a case of plodding on, I think, and then I will come back and do the stitch with me, because there is a lot I need to tell you, a lot I need to catch up with you on. Gosh, so much has happened in the last few months that I've not even had a chance to tell you about. So I will come and do that over the next couple of weeks, and then I'll do another update for you, and I'll keep you posted on the ride and what's happening with that as well, and obviously I'll do that in the stitch with me. So anyway, a bit impromptu, a little bit disorganised. I am sorry. I do try to, or I do like to plan these out a little bit better, but I just felt that, I don't know, just as I was about to put something else onto the stand and change the scrolls over, I thought, you know what, I think probably now is a good time. I feel as though I've not done a lot, but I had enough to show you, where I probably wouldn't have had a few weeks ago if I'd have come and done a proper update with you then. But I love and leave you for now. It's been great catching up. I hope you're all doing super well. I hope friends and family are still good, and that you're all in kind of good health and good spirits, or as well as we can be anyway. But you take care, and I will see you over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Lots of love. I'll see you soon. Bye.